Welcome to our literary journey through the colorful spectrum of literature. Today, we will immerse ourselves in the captivating world of literary genres, each offering its own unique charm and allure. Literature is like a treasure trove, brimming with diverse genres that cater to every taste and preference. So let's embark on this exhilarating exploration together. Our first stop is the enchanting realm of fiction, where imagination knows no bounds. From the timeless romance of Pride and Prejudice to the thought provoking drama of To Kill a Mockingbird, fiction invites us to escape into worlds both familiar and fantastical. Whether you are drawn to tales of magic and adventure or stories that explore the complexities of human nature, fiction has something for everyone. Fiction literature includes novel, short stories, and novellas. So, what is a novel? A fictitious prose narrative of book length, typically representing character and action with some degree of realism. Within its wide framework, the novel genre has incorporated a vast variety of genres and style like picaresque, epistolary, gothic, romantic, realist, and historical, to mention just a few of the most notable ones. So now we will deal with all these. Picaresque novel is a genre of prose fiction. It depicts the adventures of a roguish but appealing hero, usually of low social class, who lives by his own wits in a corrupt society. And the most famous example is by Daniel Defoe, Robinson Crusoe. Epistolary novel. An epistolary novel is a novel written as a series of letters between the fictional character of a narrative. Example is The Color Purple by Alice Walker. Gothic novel, a genre associated with the mystery and intrigue surrounding the supernatural and the unknown. The most famous example is by Mary Shelley Frankenstein. Romantic novel is a genre fiction novel that primarily focuses on the relationship and romantic love between two people, typically with an emotional, satisfying, and optimistic ending. An example is by Jane Austen's Sense and Sensibility and Pride and Prejudice. Realist novel, a literary genre, part of the broader realism in the arts that attempts to represent subject matter truthfully, avoiding the speculative fiction and supernatural elements. The most famous examples are by Thomas Hardy, Jude the Obscure, and Mark Twain's The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Last but the not least, historical novel. Historical fiction is a literary genre in which a fictional plot takes place in the setting of particular real historical events. An example is by Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities. Next is short story. So, what is short story? The story narrative is often focused with conveying a single impression via just one or a few major events or scenes. The form promotes setting, economy, clear narration, and the removal of intricate plots. Character is revealed via action and dramatic encounters, but is seldom completely developed. Despite its restricted scope, a short tale is often evaluated on its capacity to deliver a complete or satisfactory presentation of its characters and themes. The novella, which originated in Italy during the Middle Ages, was based on local occurrences that were comical, political, or amorous in character. Individual stories were often collected along with anecdotes, legends, and love tales. Example is Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad and Animal Farm by George Orwell. Next, we turn to the realm of nonfiction, where truth is often more compelling than fiction. From inspiring memoirs like Becoming to enlightening explorations of humanity's history like Sapiens, nonfiction literature offers a window into the real world. Whether you are seeking knowledge, inspiration, or a deeper understanding of the world around us, nonfiction has an endless array of stories to share. Prepare to be enchanted by the lyrical beauty of poetry. This genre captivates us with its rhythmic language, vivid imagery, and profound emotions. From the passionate verses of Pablo Neruda to the introspective musings of Emily Dickinson, poetry speaks to the soul and invites us to the sea world through a different lens. So now we will deal with the different types of poetry. Like blank verse is a poetry written with regular metrical but unrhymed lines. It has been described as probably the most common and influential form that English poetry has taken since the 16th century, and the example is by John Milton, The Paradise Lost. Free verse is an open form of poetry, which in its modern form arose through the French verse libre form. It does not use consistent meter patterns, rhyme, or any musical pattern. It just tends to follow the rhythm of natural speech. Example is by Walt Whitman, The Song of Myself. So, what defines an epic poem? An epic poem is a long narrative poem that is usually about heroic deeds and events that are significant to the culture of the poet. Many ancient writers used epic poetry to tell tales of intense adventures and heroic feats. The example is by Homer, Iliad, and Odyssey. Pastoral poems. Pastoral poetry is a genre of poetry that explores the connections between human life and nature. Pastoral poems usually romanticize the life of shepherds in rural environments and are presented as being free from the corruption and the complexity of life. And the example is by The Passionate Shepherd to His Love by Christopher Marlowe. A sonnet is a 14-line poem with a fixed rhyme scheme. Often sonnets use iambic pentameter, five sets of unstressed syllables followed by stressed syllables for a 10-syllable line. An example is by William Shakespeare, Shall I Compare Thee to a Summer's Day? An elegy is a poem of serious reflection, and in English literature, usually a lament for the dead. Example: Elegy written in the country churchyard by Thomas Gray. An ode is a short lyric poem that praises an individual, an idea, or an event. An example is by John Keats' Ode on a Grecian Urn. Last but not the least, a ballad is a song that tells a story and it can be dramatic, funny, or romantic example. So example is by S.T. Coleridge, The Rime of Ancient Mariner. So it's time to explore the electrifying world of drama. This genre brings stories to life on stage, captivating audiences with its compelling characters and powerful narratives. From Shakespearean tragedies to modern masterpieces, drama invites us to experiences the full spectrum of human emotions and dilemmas. Dramatic performances are often divided into groups based on the mood, tone, and events represented in the story. Some popular forms of drama are: comedies have a lighter tone and are meant to make the audience laugh. The example is by William Shakespeare, A Midsummer's Night Dream, published in 1605. Tragedy is a genre of drama based on human suffering and mainly the terrible or sorrowful events that befall a main character. And the best example is Hamlet by William Shakespeare. Farce is a comedy that seeks to entertain an audience through situations that are highly exaggerated, extravagant, ridiculous, absurd, and improbable. Examples of farce include the play Waiting for Godot by Samuel Beckett, a sensational dramatic piece with exaggerated characters and exciting events intended to appeal to the emotions. Uncle Tom Cabins by Harriet Beecher Stowe, published in 1852. Docudrama or documentary drama is a genre of television and film which features dramatized reenactments of actual events. It is a new genre which depicts historical events or non fictional circumstances, and the popular instances of docudramas are Apollo 13 and 12 Years a Slave, both of which are based on Solomon Northrop autobiography. Romance, the genre of love, passion, and happily ever afters. Whether you are swept away by the timeless romance of the notebook or captivated by the adventure spirit of Outlander, romance novels are guaranteed to warm your heart. From classic love stories to modern rom coms, romance literature celebrates the enduring power of love in all its forms. In academic terms, a romance is a tale in which the main character is a hero who must overcome different obstacles as a part of a journey. Each task might be its own tale and can be removed from the broader story without affecting the storyline. So, there are subtypes of romance. Gothic romance, a romance that deals with desolate and mysterious and grotesque events. Type of romance, a novel dealing with idealized events remote from everyday life. Jane Eyre by Charlotte Brontë, Wuthering Heights by Emily Brontë, Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. The next type is historical romance, is a genre consisting of books that takes place in a historical setting, with the developing romance of the main character being the focus. The Last of the Mohicans by James Fenimore Cooper and The Rob Roy by Sir Walter Scott. One of the largest subgenres of romance, contemporary romance is often set in the times it's written, encompassing the time after World War II all the way to the present. Contemporary romances reflect the current conventions of a more recent time period, giving the genre a more certain approach. The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. Furthermore, within the subgenre romance as shown in numerous films, there are four types of romances, like comic, tragedy, satire, and the serious ones. Get ready to put your detective hat on as we dive into the gripping world of mystery. This genre keeps readers on the edge of their seats with its tantalizing puzzles, clever sleuths, and shocking twists. From classic hood units to pulse pounding thrillers, mystery literature is a thrilling roller coaster ride from the start to finish. Mysteries are classified as either non-fictional or fictitious, with further classifications within both incorporating the merging of various literary genres. So, the fictional mystery is a genre of fiction that follows a crime, like a murder or a disappearance, from the moment it is committed or to the moment it is solved. And the example is Rebecca. Next is the non-fiction mystery books, which covers a wide range of topics that address true events, often involving mysteries of history, science, religion, magic, the supernatural, or the afterlife. For example, there are several publications or unsolved murders, unexplained disappearances of individuals or group of people, anonymous sightings such as Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, and UFOs, and mystery haunted locations. Non-fiction mysteries are a popular genre for documentary and reality television series, with many focused on unsolved or unexplained mysteries. So, a major distinction between the fiction and non-fiction mysteries is that fiction mysteries nearly usually finish with the mystery solved, but the non-fiction mysteries are generally used to address unresolved problems. Step into the magical realm of fantasy where anything is possible, from the epic quest of the Lord of the Rings to the spellbinding adventures of Harry Potter. Fantasy literature ignites our imagination and takes us on extraordinary journeys. Whether you are battling dragons, exploring enchanted forests, or unraveling ancient prophecies, fantasy novels transport us to the world of wonder and adventure. Now, we will discuss the types of fantasy. Medieval fantasy encompasses works where aspects of medieval history, such as legends from the Middle Ages and aesthetics such as medievalism, overlap with fantasy. The legends of King Arthur and the Lord of the Rings trilogy are the best examples of the medieval fantasy. High fantasy or epic fantasy is a subgenre of fantasy defined by the epic nature of its setting or by the epic stature of its characters, themes, or plot. High fantasy is set in an alternative fictional or secondary world rather than the real or primary world. The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis is the best example of high fantasy. Mythology is shaped by thousands of people retelling stories of the supernatural. The changes and developments of the story are shaped by historical events around the people telling the stories, and the example is by Homer, Iliad and Odyssey. A short story typically with animals as characters conveying a moral is fables. The example is Aesop fables like the ant and the grasshopper, the beekeeper and the bees, the country mouse and the city mouse, and the golden touch. Blast off into the cosmos with science fiction, the genre that pushes the boundaries of imagination and exploration, from dystopian futures to intergalactic adventures. Science fiction literature invites us to ponder the possibilities of the universe and our place within it. With its visionary ideas and thought provoking themes, science fiction challenges us to dream of worlds beyond our wildest imagination. And the example is 1984 by George Orwell. And there you have it, a captivating glimpse into the diverse world of literary genres. Whether you are a fan of fiction, poetry, drama, or any other genre, there's a story out there waiting to be discovered. Thank you for joining us on this literary adventure. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content. Until next time, happy reading.